French toast. All right, so I will admit the French toast has been nice to have again since it's been a little bit of a nostalgia trip for me. But I'm not a huge fan of this high carbohydrate diet stuff. And to be fair, this isn't a diet plan. This is me being stupid and just giving it a whirl. And so what we're actually dealing with here is me systematic system that I can use to make sure that I get the same amount of calories every day on a high carbohydrate diet. Now, it can't be exclusively carbohydrate. Like French toast, it's bread, powdered sugar, but you also making it. So it's got protein and fat in there as well. I don't know that we can call that fat. It's cholesterol, something like that. Anyway, so yes, technically, it's a carby breakfast thing. But, I mean, I had a couple of ham sandwiches. For like the first 3 days I did this. Let's recap here. At the end of June, on June 30th, I began the process of doing 4 weeks of high carbohydrate diet. And by diet, I don't mean like a weight loss regime. I mean like a method of eating, a program of eating. And my choice for this round was a high carbohydrate diet. And this is the last week of doing this. And I kind of can't wait to be done. It's not that the food doesn't taste good. The food tastes fine. But I am constantly hungry. I am hungry all the time. And that's the thing is, like, I talked with a friend a while back. My base diet, I've had days where, like, there's just too much effort to do anything complicated. So I just microwave up some, you're not going to love this, but I'd microwave up some scrambled eggs. And, like, I'd just use 2 eggs, scramble them with no milk or anything else, cook them in the microwave, and cut them into strips and serve them in some small slices of ham. Eat those. All told, 3 slices of ham, and they're decent-sized slices of ham. I mean, like paperback book-sized slices of ham, lunch meat, with egg rolled into each piece. You're getting, I think, all told, that comes out to, let's see, 60. I think it was about 200 calories for that. Now, I could eat that. I could eat that 4 times in a day and still not break 1,000 calories. And I would feel satisfied all day long. You know, every 4 hours you eat that, you're good. Or at least I am. I don't know how other people's systems handle that. But I'd be good with that all day. Here's the thing. Two slices of bread are almost 300 calories just by themselves. And 2 slices of bread, I could eat that, and 15 minutes later, want more. like I feel like I hadn't eaten enough, so I'd want to eat more. And I found that's sort of the way the things have gone with most of the high carbohydrate foods. I could have a bowl of pasta. Just a one serving size bowl of pasta is over 280, I think. A one serving size is not very large. You look at the size of your packages and you see what a one serving size plate of pasta is. And that's a side dish for most of us. So to have that be a meal in which you have just that pasta, nothing else on it, the amount of calories in that is 1.5 times as much as 2 whole eggs and 3 slices of lunch meat ham. And know that you have that bowl of pasta and you're going to be hungry within a half an hour. And I know logistically why some of that happens. I know why having a high carbohydrate food source, geez, it's warm in here, a high carbohydrate food source, your body takes that in. It's easier for it to break down, especially processed carbs. It breaks it down quickly, causes a spike in your insulin levels. So you get elevated blood sugar, elevated insulin levels, oftentimes overcompensating for your sugar levels. And it just pulls it out of the blood real quick. And so you end up with this in and out fuel source that's, when you eat carbohydrates, they usually take about half an hour in your digestive system in your stomach to break down to be flushed into the lower intestine, the intestine. Protein, fats take, I think it was, if I remember correctly, 1 to 2 hours, and proteins are thought to take about 3 hours minimum for fully breaking it down enough to go into the intestine. So carbohydrates go in like right away, and they cause a spike in blood sugar, which, I mean, even protein causes a spike in blood sugar. But I know that it causes that rise, and then it dissipates quickly, leaving you feeling like you've never eaten anything. So I know why it's not leaving me with a sensation of satisfied, but that doesn't change the fact that this has been really hard to do. But I set my goal at the start to average a 2,000 calorie intake each day. Now, somebody of my size, so I'm a few inches over 6 foot tall, and I'm moderately active. So somebody at my level of activity and my size really ought to be getting about 2,500 calories a day. But I figured if I use 2,000 as the base, I can go a little over or a little under on any given day. It's not a big deal. I could monitor the effects of that in a carbohydrate diet, a keto diet, and a protein-based diet, and see how the effects of that work out over time. Now, I'm going to hold off a lot till the end of the week to really give an estimate of how this has affected my energy levels and um, my sleep patterns, my general feeling of well-being, some of my joint pain issues and my digestive issues, and I'll give a rough appraisal of its effects on my weight, but I'm trying to be very careful about that. As somebody who has had body image issues of my own for a few years, most of my life, but as somebody who's had body image issues, I'm acutely aware of people who are driven to potential self-harm through changing their diet based off of calorie counting. So I'm going to be careful about that. I'm not going to give calorie counts per meal. And I'm also acutely aware of people who have issues with scale measurements. So I'm not going to give you my actual weights. I will just tell you that, I may gain or lose a certain amount of weight at a given amount of time based on dietary or exercise-based choices. And then I'm also acutely aware of, there are a lot of people out there who will do a video of like, I tried this diet for a little while, and this is what my body looked like before, and this is what my body looked like after. I do not want to do that. That, more than anything, bothers me. I used to be very heavy. I got sick and lost a lot of weight, not through effort or healthy eating, but got so that I couldn't absorb food. I had tried to lose weight, eating healthy and exercising for years before that, and it never worked. I got violently ill for about a year. In the first month, I lost 80 pounds because my body just wasn't taking food in. So for 30 days, it's like I never ate anything. And that's not healthy. It does a lot of damage, but that was happening to me out of my control. And since then, I've found ways to get my body to take some foods back in again. But the inflammatory bowel disease is still there. It's still, if I push too hard sometimes, if I go too hard in one direction, it'll still go off. And I can lose 5 to 10 pounds in a week if it goes off badly. So I try to be very careful about what I do with that. But the reason I mention this is, even after I got sick and lost half of my body weight, I still responded to people talking about how different diets changed the way their body looked, as if I were an overweight person. I was deeply underweight at that point, trying to eat foods that would put weight on me. But at the same time, every time somebody was talking about this new system of doing this made it so that they lost 2 inches from their waist, that mindset of me being the overweight person that I used to be is still locked up in here. And so I don't want to show how many inches go on or off, because I will say, the thing I've learned over the years of being the new me after I started to recover from being sick like that is I can gain 5 to 10 pounds in a week. Like I said, if I eat something wrong and I get sick for a couple days, the whole week I'll just lose weight. And it's not healthy, and it's not enjoyable, and it's not something I want to try to do. But it's also possible for me to put on 5 to 10 pounds of weight in a week, and that just happens sometimes. if I eat a lot of salty, high sugar, carbohydrate foods, I'm going to put on some of that weight. And some of it's water weight, and some of it's just the way my body responds to carbohydrates. So I won't give you waist measurements. I won't show off my body, partly because I have body image issues already. I won't be showing a scale. And I won't be giving direct calorie counts for individual food items. As much as I just sort of already did that early on, saying, 2 eggs and 3 slices of ham have this many calories versus 2 pieces of French toast. I'll try not to do that very often. I was just sort of trying to illustrate the fact that I'm trying to aim for within the realm of what I should be having calorically per day for my size and activity level. And I chose 2,000 calories a day, partly because if I'm completely sedentary, if I am bedridden for the month, on a daily basis, my caloric intake should be 1,800 calories. If I am moderately active, I believe my caloric intake should be about 2,500. So I sort of settled on the difference between the two, erring a little bit on the side of sedentary, just because I know that at certain points in the year I do a lot of traveling, which means a lot of sitting all day and not a lot of chance to do a lot of exercise. So I sort of settled on 2,000 calories a day as the marker. And I figure if I'm moderately active and getting 2,000 calories a day, it's possible that I may lose weight with some diets and gain weight with others. So I'm going to sort of, at the end of the week, of the Health and Fitness Week here, I'm going to try to do a sort of appraisal of how things have gone with percentage shift in weight. I'm going to try to aim for doing it by percentage, or I don't want to say like I lost 10 pounds or I gained 10 pounds doing this. I don't want to give somebody a phobia of carbohydrate-based diets, because that's what I'm doing right now. And I know this is so many caveats to doing this kind of thing. I know for a fact that my body behaves a certain way with carbohydrates, and not everybody's body behaves that way. I used to know a guy who, 3 or 4 pancakes in the morning would be enough to leave him satisfied until, 6 p.m. You do a couple pancakes, 3 or 4 pancakes in the morning, and just stick to his ribs, he said, and he'd be fine until 6 p.m. Whereas for me, 3 pancakes, I'd be hungry in about 3 hours. I need more food. I need something with more heft to it that really sits and takes a while to go through my system. And that might be down to the gut microbiome. It might be down to genetics. I can't say what the cause is. I'm not an expert. It's not my job to figure out the cause of that. I'm just saying, don't use me as a model. We already know that I have an inflammatory bowel disease that can throw off how my body absorbs certain foods. And we already know that it varies between people how their body responds to certain foods. So don't use me as a model of what you should be doing. This is more an experiment to say, like, what are some of the experiences and methods that I can use to understand how my body relates to the food that I eat. So it's more a testing method for me and data gathering for me and my body type and my lifestyle. So that being said, all those caveats, I mean, I will give a little more example maybe tomorrow about the different foods I've eaten while I've been on this. And to be fair, there are a few days where things are a little bit off. My birthday party was earlier this month, and I traveled out to California, and so I had to get foods at food vendors, essentially. And while I did my best to eat predominantly carb-based meals, it's not as easy to keep track of how many calories were taken in at those meals. And so it's entirely possible that I had a few days where I did over 3,000 calories, but I can't say for sure because I can't measure those caloric intakes. But in the long run, 1 or 2 days, sometimes 4 days, do not make a complete destruction of your metabolism. It's just a few extra calories on a given day. And so I'm not going to sweat it too much. I also feel like the goal in the long run for this isn't to say, carbs good, fat's bad. It's more for me to say, oh, I know that if I eat more carbs than anything else, this is how I will feel. And this is my energy level. This is my mood. And this is how it affected my ability to maintain a weight. And then I want to do that for a keto diet. I want to do that for a high protein diet with breaks in between. And it's really just to get a comparison of how my body handles carbs versus fats versus protein, and then figure out based on that what I should be doing for what makes me feel best, what doesn't cause me any pain or problems, and leaves me with enough energy to do the things I need in a day. And then that's the first half of this discussion. The other half of this discussion is this week is the first of a 4-week stint of doing predominantly cardiovascular exercise. So today was the first day of starting that routine. So I'm switching off of my basic fitness routine, which is something I will cover in a different video at a different point. But so today was the first day of doing a cardio dominant exercise routine. And I got to tell you, it's weird because my usual level of fitness, and that's what we're going for this, is we're going to do cardio this time. Next time is strength training. And then the time after that will be power training. And the tendency of my fitness level to be a certain way, I noticed when I established a fitness routine, I noticed some changes pretty quickly as to what I was able to do, and even to a certain degree, some of the muscles, especially on my legs. I went from very chicken legs to pretty fit musculature on them. I'm not going to imagine I have a fitness model physique, but they weren't just bone and skin on my legs. And so that was something I noticed pretty quickly. Establishing my base routine for the last couple months. Now, switching over to cardio is another changeover, and it's something I'm kind of getting a feel for. It's weird because I know last year, the year before, I could go for a 6-mile walk. I could finish that 6-mile walk and I'd be fine. I know that if you had a trunk full of books weighing 130 pounds, you could just grab both handles, lift them up, and move them across the room relatively easily. And so I'm not incapable of performing these actions. I'm not unfit by most measures. But despite the fact that I could walk 6 miles, doing a fitness routine like I've been doing, I realized that's like a very limited set of skill. Because this should be a very simple, I'm not burning anywhere near as many calories as I would on a 6-mile walk. And I'm not straining to go up and down hills or any of that territory. And I'm not feeling a burn in my calves or my thighs necessarily, or like my femur area. But there is a distinct difference in how I feel the burn of these exercises that I'm doing. And it's clear to me that some of these are muscles that I never seem to exercise. The activities that I do on a daily basis that use muscles to move me about and do the things that I need to do, those muscles are fine. But it's clear those activities don't use certain other muscles, because now some of the exercises I'm doing are using muscles that clearly haven't been used in months, if ever. And so I feel it. I feel it a lot. And it's a bit of a surprise. I thought I was doing pretty good fitness wise, but no, there are clearly some things that your body won't do because you've not done them. And so that's been a bit of a surprise. We'll see how I am at the end of the week. This is end of week 1 would be this Saturday coming up. And I've got 3 more weeks after that of doing cardio-based exercises. Why I chose to do cardio-based exercises in the hottest freaking month of the year, I don't know. I guess we'll just see how that goes. But I will have an assessment of the first week at the end of the week, and then 1 month from today, no, 2 months from today, when we do the next health and fitness assessment, I will have a full assessment of the cardio routine right before we start the first week of the strength training routine. And by the next time we do one of these videos, I will have done keto diet for 4 weeks. After this week, the next week where we do this, I will have done 3 weeks of keto, and we'll do the finishing 4th week live with discussion. So that's sort of the plan. I know this is a bit of a ramble, and I don't know if it's anywhere near remotely clear what I'm talking about. Hopefully, it's somewhat clear. And hopefully, my overstressed computer hasn't omitted or deleted all of this. We'll find out. But I think I'm going to cut it right about here at the half-hour mark. And then I'm going to take about a 15 to do a little bit more. And then I'll be right back here for video game design episode, because I'm doubling up this week. So I will call it here and be right back. Here's hoping everything worked out. Yes, end stream.